Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Ask the Coach Show, episode 128. And this is the show where PingSkills answers your table tennis questions. Interestingly, 128 is the seventh power of 2. In fact, it is the only three-digit number that is a seventh power. But today, we're going to discuss some ways to help throw the ball up accurately when serving, how much of a difference there is in the world between the top men and the top women, whether it's better to train or play more matches, and how it's possible to beat certain players but lose to others who might seem to be stronger players. I'm Jeff Plum, and as always, with me is Super Coach Alois Rosario to answer your questions. Welcome, Alois.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And yes, more interesting stats on numbers. Fantastic, Jeff. Thank you.
You're welcome. Love the stats. Now, it's a great day in Australia because it's Friday. That means the weekend's here, which is always a good thing, Alois.
Yes, the weekend means table tennis, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Yep, sure. Now, I'm hoping that my questions will just light up magically, and they have. So that's brilliant. So let's get into the last PingSkills question of the day, which was, how long have you been playing table tennis?
Good question. Well, for me, I played my first tournament when I was 9, so that was 42 years ago. Yes, but I started hitting the ball up against the wall and I suppose hitting with a bat probably when I was 5, so that's, like 45, 46 years ago. So that is a long time. What about you, Jeffrey?
Let me think. Probably started just hitting a ball like in grade 6, maybe 1986. So what's that? 29 years ago. That's getting up there as well. So it goes quickly. But we have a lot of PingSkillers, Alois, who have had a lot from table tennis than that.
Yes. Are you there? Yeah, breaking up.
I'm there. Look like you dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had some players that have had like breaks of 30 years or sometimes even longer. Yeah,
we get a lot of our PingSkillers with a similar sort of background in table tennis. A lot of them talk to us about having played a lot when they were young, or played a bit when they were young or at school, and then and even played in a club, and then not having the chance to play for 20, 30, 40 years sometimes, and sometimes even longer. And that often happens when you start to work and do all sorts of other things in your life. But then when you get a bit more time back, we find that these players are coming back to table tennis and finding PingSkills and just trying to improve their games and learn how to play correctly. Yeah, so we do get a bit of that.
Indeed. All right. Well, the PingSkillers question of the day for today is, will you get a chance to play table tennis this weekend? So we really want to hear your thoughts. You can leave a comment on our YouTube channel under this video if you're watching it there. If you're listening to us last, and that is a great way to listen to us, go to iTunes and listen to us on the podcast, or use your favorite podcasting app. Then just jump onto our website, pingskills.com, click on the blog link, and you can leave a comment right on our website. So will you get a chance to play table tennis this weekend? Let us know. All right, now moving on to the questions, Alois. First one is from Il, who says, is there a moment of pressing with the palm or any part of the thumb just before throwing the ball into the air for your serve? And is there any techniques like holding the ball in the palm for more precise, accurate throwing of the ball?
Yeah, so it's something that players initially can find quite tricky. So if you think about holding the hand flat, often there isn't too much of an area that the ball sits on too nicely. But if you just press your thumb in a little bit like that, you'll find that you'll get a little bit of a cup happening in the middle of your hand there. And then the ball will sit a little bit easier. So once the ball's sitting on your hand, and a little bit more firmly, then it's easier to throw the ball up accurately and straight. So if it's, you know, rolling around, or it's a bit unstable in your hand, or coming off different parts of your hand all the time, then it's hard to get a consistent throw. So yeah, so think about that. Just pushing the thumb in a little bit, get a little bit of a divot there, a little bit of a cup, and then it's a bit more stable. I can do that with the ball, and the ball's still not going to run away. And then think about throwing the ball up. So another little trick that we use is to put a piece of paper on, just a piece of paper like that on the floor in front of you, and throw the ball up, and just practice landing the ball on that piece of paper. So that will help you to get some more accuracy with the throw. So if the ball's going up that way and not quite landing on the paper, you can just keep practicing. So throw the ball up and let the ball land, and see if it lands on that bit of paper on the floor. So yeah, that's another little trick that you can use.
Yeah, great tip for getting that throw accurate, Alois. I guess it's an interesting topic because a lot of people who first come to a club and have only been playing at home wouldn't even realise about the rule about you having to have a flat hand and the ball having to be in the palm of your hand. Because a lot of people I see that just, find out that I like playing table tennis and want to have a game, if I go and play them, they'll just hold the ball like in between their fingers and then just kind of serve it straight out of their hand, and they've got no idea of the rule. And it is a bit unusual at first, and it can take a bit of practice to get right.
Yeah, it does, and you're right. It can be quite tricky, especially when you're starting off, to get that that basic right. So one way that I explain it to kids especially is to just think about the ball being on a tray. So just having the ball on a tray first, and then throwing it up before hitting it. And as we said, it can be quite a difficult coordination exercise when you're first starting up. Just practice it; it'll get better.
Yeah, and so if you're really new to table tennis and want to find out how to do a really basic serve, I'll put a link in the notes to a video that'll just demonstrate all the steps you need to go through to get a basic legal serve in table tennis. So check that out if you're very new to the game. All right, moving on to the next question. It is from Marv, and Marv says, "I am wondering how much difference there is between the best men players and the best women players."
Interesting one, this one. I think, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly, but I would say that the top women players in the world would come in, I don't know, I would say around 250 or so in the men's rankings. So let's have a look at who's 250 in the world. So, yeah, there's, Katsuya Yamamoto from Japan, Adrian Dodian from Romania. I think that they would probably even beat the top women in the world. Gavin Rumgay from Scotland. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's pretty interesting where they would actually fit in. Going down to 300 in the world. The Malaysian guy, Mud, that I've seen play. Yeah, I think that the top women would maybe beat him. So yeah, it's probably somewhere around there, I would say. But yeah, really hard to put a finger on where they'd fit in.
It is hard to put a finger on, isn't it? Because you don't really get to see any matches between them. Sometimes you get to see the mixed doubles, but that's totally different from just a singles match. I would guess a little bit higher than 250. That's just my guess, but it's an interesting discussion point. If you have an opinion on it, leave a comment and let us know. But yeah, I might go even higher as 150. Ding Ding's pretty good.
Yeah, so David Powell from Australia is 255.
Yeah, and I think David Powell a pretty good run for his money. I mean, we've got Jamfang Lei in Australia, who would go pretty well against David Powell, I imagine.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Interesting, though.
true. So yeah, so Torreola,
Interesting, and like you said, very hard to know.
Torreola from Nigeria is 153. Thiago Monteiro from Brazil 158. Where do you think that would fit in, Jeff?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's hard to know, isn't it? I mean, yeah. And I think, also different styles might come into play as well. Like some people might prefer playing against different styles, and that may be an advantage or a disadvantage for them. And that,
yeah,
Alice, leads us on to an interesting question, Romeo, who says, let's say I'm able to defeat person A. Person A is much stronger than person B, so it means I can probably defeat person B, right? Well, so I asked myself, how do I defeat this kind of player? The answer popped into my mind: adapt.
yeah. So table tennis isn't really linear in that way, is it? So I beat you, you beat him, therefore I should beat him. It really does depend a lot on styles, and the way that your games match up as well. So yeah, so always interesting. There's often those little triangles of wins and losses that occur with it between players. I mean, it even happens at tournaments. Like three people playing in a round robin group, and they'll all have one win each. Happens quite often in table tennis. So I remember in the old days in Australia. So there were three players. There was Stephen Knapp, a left-hander topspin type player, Bob Tuckett, another left-hander, but a blocker and fast blocker close to the table, and Paul Pinkowicz, a chopper. And it often happened that Knapp would lose Bob Tuckett would beat Stephen Knapp because could block well against the topspin. But Bob Tuckett, when he played against the defensive chop of Pinkowicz, really struggled. And Pinkowicz struggled against the topspin type style of Knapp. So yeah, that's something that I grew up with, and it made me realise from really young age that your styles really do matter a lot.
Indeed, yep. Yep, and they were all very good players for Australia. Yeah, so it would have been good growing up seeing them playing, Alois.
Yeah, it was good. The good days.
Indeed. All right, next question is from Johnny, who says, I was wondering, which is better, more time in training with my coach or more time playing matches? I currently only have 1 hour of training each week, but play a lot more matches.
Yeah, so Johnny, I think it's a real balance, and it's a balancing act, and it depends on where you are in relation to, are you preparing for tournaments or are you in the off season, that sort of thing as well. But if you've only got one training session a week or 1 hour of training a week, I think definitely you need to put some more time into training rather than matches. So as a balance, I would say, you probably need 2 training sessions to 1 match type session. So, one pennant or fixtures type thing a week. You'd need to be doing at least 2 training sessions, and probably even 3 training sessions per week compared to the one competition session. So again, it depends a lot on players and their stage of development. Like, for example, a younger player that's developing their game, I would say, you'd probably even do 4 or 5 training sessions to 1 competition session. But on the other scale, the older players don't need to do as many training sessions compared to match or tournament type play. So yeah, it's a balance there.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess, because, if you haven't got the stroke sort of really well grooved and you're still improving that a lot, when you're playing matches, you're kind of under pressure to get the ball on the table, and it's hard to really work on that. Whereas if you can just, practice it over and over and over, it really allows you to develop the stroke. So I can see the benefits of practice, but then, like you said, it needs a balance because you still need to know how to win points and in matches you get a lot of service and return practice, I guess, which is good. So yeah, so that makes sense that especially initially more practice, and especially in the off season, I guess, maybe as you approach a tournament you might shift that balance slightly. But yeah, makes sense to me, Alois.
So definitely thinking about what phase you're in as far as your training as well as we've just talked about. So if you're closer to a tournament, so if you've got your major tournament for the year coming up in the next couple of weeks, then you'd probably shift your focus completely the other way. So 3 or 4 sessions or 70% of your training would probably be match play. And whereas in the off season, when you're still 6 months out or more from your major tournament, then in that situation it'd be more about your stroke development, developing your footwork, developing some major parts of your game that you want to change in training.
Indeed. And for our premium members, we've got some great videos on training. There's a training secrets course which outlines a lot of drills and why they're beneficial for you and how you can improve, and plus a 52-week training plan which gives you a new exercise each week, and it focuses on a particular topic for 4 weeks. So the first 4 weeks are on consistency, so developing your stroke so you can be consistent, and then we go through a lot of different topics, and the last 8 weeks are actually preparation. So you get the full range of plans to help you get ready for a tournament and improve your game. So if you're really interested in improving your table tennis, check out our premium membership at PingSkills.com. And if you haven't already, make sure you sign up for our free newsletter where we give out lots of table tennis tips. So again, go to PingSkills.com and sign up for our free newsletter. Now, Alois, we've got some exciting news. Last night, and again, to be for our premium members, we were refilming our pendulum serve video, which is quite old now. I think we originally filmed that in 2007. So, once I get some time to edit it, it's going to look a lot better in HD, and a few little extra tips in there about your pendulum serve. So we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that was fun filming that last night, Jeff. It was good just looking over the old footage again, and just seeing how young you were then, Jeff. That was 8 years ago, Jeffrey. I know. I'm looking forward to the new one coming out.
Indeed. So everyone, keep your eyes out for that. Well, that wraps up show 128. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and thank you, Alois.
Yeah, so on the weekend I'm going to be watching some Croatian Open. So the Croatian Open up to the last 16, I think, at the moment, and our hot tip Mima Ito struggled through her first 2 rounds, Jeffrey. So she's in the last 16, but her first 2 rounds were both 4-3 wins. So it'll be interesting to see if Mima Ito progresses, and a lot of other upsets at the Croatian Open early on. So that's what I'll be having a look at over the weekend. So on Monday we'll discuss the results.
Excellent. Yeah, look forward to seeing the results on Monday morning. Yeah, we'll have a chat and see if Mima Ito can come through. Yeah. Great. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Play lots of tables, and we will catch you again Monday.